Good evening and welcome. I'm your host, Shameika Rhymes, and this is Soulibration. Let me know in the chat where you are watching from and how you're doing this evening. Remember, share this with your network because you never know who may need it. And if you have any questions at all tonight, please drop it in the chat because you guys know you're the co host. So tonight, I'm so excited. I've been trying to get this show together, right? Me and him been going back and forth trying to schedule it, and we finally did it. So tonight, I am so hype about it. Here, Junior Spates is joining me for a personal and powerful conversation about living with sickle cell disease. He'll share some navigating, like how he navigates chronic illness and why he created his foundation. And we're also going to talk about resilience, purpose, and using laughter to heal. And for those unfamiliar, sickle cell disease is a serious inherited blood disorder. Red blood cells become stiff and sickle shaped, blocking blood flow, which can cause severe pain and organ damage. And this is especially a timely conversation because World Sickle Cell Day is next week on Thursday, June 19th. And that's a global awareness day for this condition. So make sure you guys come back for that. So again, like I just told you who the guest was, I kind of jumped ahead of myself, but let me give you the bio. Junior Spates. Y'all know him as Junior from the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Y'all know him. He's like our cousin, right, y'all? I see you, Charlotte, in the building. I see you, Asheville, Gastonia. I see y'all. He's an Emmy-nominated writer who's worked on Showtime at the Apollo, Little Big Shots, and more. And he shared the stage with legends like Aretha Franklin and Anthony Hamilton. But beyond the spotlight, he's a sickle cell warrior and the founder of Cures Hope Foundation, which supports families affected by the disease. And he is living proof that laughter and purpose can walk hand in hand, even through the pain. But I love his motto because he firmly believes that laughter is the best medicine. And I think so too. He says, this just got serious. So this just got serious. Let's bring Junior on out here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. What's going on, Shameika?
I mean, it's like, I feel like we're cousins at this point. Like I told you, we met before in 2015.
You did tell me. I just found out. I've been knowing you. See, I've been knowing.
See, we've been cousins for 10 years.
Yeah. No biggie. It's regular talk.
That's right. So I'm going to jump right on in and ask you, when did you first find out you had sickle cell and how did that impact you?
I first found out I had sickle cell at 7. How it impacted me, I went back to playing.
But before you went back to play, okay, let's back it up. What were your symptoms, if you remember?
I was diagnosed at 7 years old, and a 7-year-old doesn't understand any of that because what followed after that was the fact that they just told my parents, "Hey, he has sickle cell disease, and really what we have here, he won't live past 11 years old, so don't even plan a life. So don't even waste time. Don't do any of that."
Wow.
And that's not even uncommon. That is a common thing for all of us. Everybody in the sickle cell community has what we call expiration date. Like what date did they give you? You hear from ranges from 7 to 5 to 25 to 21 to 13 to, whatever number they decide, and that part there really kind of angered me at that point. When I got older, I realized that I was still alive and nothing happened after 11.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know, because you got to think about it, that, my parents were very devastated, but I was blessed to have parents that did not handicap me because of the condition. They didn't.
Good.
I could pretty much do anything I wanted to do. I played football. I played track. I ran track. I played basketball, baseball. I played sports. I just was playing. You got to think about it. You got to 11. You got 11. You already said you got 4 more years. At 10 and a half, I was playing my behind off. You couldn't tell me. All I wanted to, because I ain't got but 6 months left. I got to play.
Right. Did they let you start? At least did they let you start?
Man, I was out there threatening kids. Kick the ball. I was just threatening children. Throw it. You got to play. Got time to sit here and worry about dying. I didn't even know what dying was. So you look at it, and at that point in time, it was very different for me because as I went through the phases that all of us go through as warriors, at that point, it's a summer where, you can't swim with your friends because water's dangerous to you.
Right.
Cold weather's dangerous to you. And you start going in and out the hospital, then you fall into depression. You
Mhm.
natural. It just I'm not worthy. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't. Why am I here? What am I here to do?
Mhm.
I tried to commit suicide twice, failed both times.
Oh.
These are real issues that a lot of
Mhm.
us have been through.
Yeah.
I just learned how to laugh at them because what was I thinking? If I knew what God had in store for me, I wouldn't even
Mhm.
try none of it. Because it was like,
Yeah.
why was I trying to get up out of here and all this was waiting on me? Had no
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I just did not know. I was so mad at myself, but I think God had a plan in place because He didn't let me. He let me fail both times.
Mhm.
Especially
Yeah.
that whole trying to hang yourself. That went so horribly wrong. You
I
know,
don't Wait, I have to ask.
it was because I tied the knot on the other side. Then I threw it over there and I kicked the stool. The knot let go on the other side. I fell flat on my behind, and I just sat there and I said, "I'm not going nowhere. I'm just not." And
Yeah.
my dad was our Cub Scout leader, and we didn't get a knot tying badge or nothing, so that worked out. It was just like I just have to be here for something because
Yeah.
at that point in time in my life, I had got kicked off the football team because I had sickle cell.
Mhm.
My only dream was to play in the NFL, and sickle cell just took it. There was nothing I could
Oh,
do. It just took it.
yeah. Mhm.
So what am I here for now if I can't do the one thing that I love doing? And
Right.
that's why I said I had really good parents because they didn't care about me having sickle cell. They wanted me to be able to compete just like
Mhm.
all the other children, get the
Yeah.
disappointment like all the other children.
Mhm.
That's like, well, he could possibly die. And I said, well, at least he died doing something he loved doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the part where I realized I'm not gonna allow sickle cell to take anything else.
Mm.
Nothing else.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna apologize for it anymore. I'm not gonna go through life feeling like I have to, you know, buckle down because I have this, none of that.
Yeah.
And so that's how that's the impact is giving me because it's kind of like uh you taking not just taking the negative and making it a positive, but
Mhm.
actually putting the application in to do something about it for people with your same issue. Because it's a group of us who didn't have I've run across people who didn't have the mentality that I had because I can understand why.
Yeah.
I totally understand why they don't have
Mhm.
that too because you're dogged. I mean, literally dogged out for having sickle cell disease.
Mhm.
The way emergency rooms had treated me
Mhm.
is the same way it treated them. There's no difference. It's the lack
Wow.
of empathy.
Mhm.
We don't believe you. You're the drug seeker. You
Mhm.
all of these things, and all you came here for because you had a sickle cell crisis. So, what happens when you do that to a person so many times? Well,
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to the emergency room.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll just stay home and suffer in silence. At least it's better here.
Mhm.
And that's the wrong thing for us to do. That's really is.
Yeah. Yeah. I really something you said a minute ago about, you had to if you had known that how things would be now back then, you wouldn't have tried to commit
Yeah.
suicide. Yeah. I just went back to watch this, and Ananda Lewis passed away, and I was revisiting that interview, and there was just something that she said in that interview that, and this was, people can go back and watch that. It was from like 7 months ago, but she said sometimes you have to go through stuff, but you got to keep going through it to get to the other side because you never know what could be there. And so that just kind of made me think about that when you said that, like, yeah, you got to go through some stuff to get to the some of the good stuff
Well,
sometimes.
I could put it like this. If I'd known I was going to have it, I think I had to go through all these things.
Hmm.
I mean, everything
Yeah.
from the mistreatment at the emergency room to not being believed, to call the drug seeker, to be left in the emergency room for 7 hours
Hmm.
while other people go ahead of you, to almost died 8 times, to all of these things. So when I did start a foundation, there's nothing I'm not familiar with.
There you go. Yeah.
See,
Hmm.
now they can come and talk to me and I understand exactly where they're at whatever point.
Yeah.
But man, it just was a lot. And I hear these stories, and it's like listen to yourself talk because you said these same things to yourself.
Hmm.
But I had to go through all of those things, every last one of them, just to get to a point to where I say, okay, Now I'm equipped with everything I need to help everybody. Now I know exactly what the mission is. Now I know what's needed. And that's how, I decided that I'm going to have a platform. Now he gave me the platform to where I didn't have to. It speeds it up 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can
Yeah.
go up here and be a part of these communities. Now I can go greet these people. Now I can go hug with feeling. Now I can high five with celebration. Now I can do all those things because I've been through all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Been through it and I get it. Now you can't fool me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't fool me. Because my one goal, and this is the goal that I've set for the foundation and myself, is to make sure everyone lives a full and prosperous life. And that means getting to 70.
Mm-hmm.
I want us all to live to be 70. I don't want to do any more early deaths. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's our goal. That's our mission. I mean, our motto is what the motto is. We're working to change the shape of sickle cell. Because if you change the shape, you can find a cure. Now,
Yeah.
we're not talking about the cell itself.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking about changing the shape of sickle cell, the state, the mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it. You have to have a strong mind. I know some people that have sickle cell disease who, man, they cold with this thing. Man, the attitude, they mind.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some people with sickle cell do some amazing things.
Yeah.
And that's the stories that we should be sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do the woe is me, feel sorry for me, any of that.
Yeah.
I don't care if I have a crisis. Look, stay right there. I'll be right back. I promise I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
I'll finish the
Yeah.
mission. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the mentality is I'm gonna finish the mission. Don't worry about it. No.
Yeah.
I give you a head start. I'll catch you in just a second. But
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people with sickle cell do these incredible things. And so I want us to come out the shadows to show other people who say, well, I'm embarrassed, I'm ashamed, I never told anybody this. Hey man,
Yeah.
I didn't know we wasn't supposed to talk about it. Nobody told me. Keep
Well,
it to yourself.
that's a good thing nobody told you because we need
Yeah,
to hear about it.
yes.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything to me. Hey, Dad, hush that, calm that down.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you're talking too much. They didn't tell, and if they did, I still wouldn't listen. And nice of you to say something with your regular normal life, with your healthy behind, you good.
Right. Right. Well, I was curious though because you mentioned a crisis. So what for those of us that have never experienced this, or for those that maybe at home and maybe they are going through something similar and they don't know if they have sickle cell, what does a crisis actually feel like, and how does managing it, like, what does that involve?
How do I explain a crisis? Um, okay, first of all, when we talk about a crisis,
Mhm.
it's like when all the sickle cells, I call it, like we just call it like a block party. They'll get into a vein in an artery, they'll harden, they'll stick the ends of stick up, and it's millions of thousands. They'll get together
Mhm.
and they'll block the blood flow in a vein on the artery, right? They'll in
Okay.
your veins, they'll block it, they'll stick in the walls, and most happen in your joints when they got to make turns and stuff, right?
Mhm.
They'll stick in there and they'll block the blood flow, right? And that's what
Okay.
causes all the pain, right? Now the one thing our organs need is oxygen,
Right.
and that's what blood cells are. So some of our blood cells are whole, some are shaped like sickles. It's when the
Mhm.
ones that shaped like sickles get in the way and they start blocking up the veins and in the turns and everything. So that's why we have pains in our shoulders and in our
Right.
backs and our hips and our
Mhm.
legs, knees, always where the joints are. And
Okay.
then chest, everything, right? So to describe the pain, it's kind of like being tossed off the fifth floor of a building,
Oh,
free
wow.
falling. Then you stand up and you get hit by a truck doing 30.
Gosh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's about the best way I can do. Yeah.
Mm,
The fall
goodness.
didn't kill you, and neither did the truck, but they all hurt.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's that when you got grown men who cry,
Mhm.
grown men, that's the level of pain we talking. Like that, there's
Yeah.
no relief. There's no relief. Maybe sometimes for 48 hours, sometimes 2 weeks.
Mhm.
That's why you have to knock us out. So when I come in
Oh.
there, I tell you my pain's a 10. I mean it.
Mhm.
I mean it. So you turn around, you tell me, well, you don't look like it. Go have a
Mm.
seat. Next. And
Yeah.
then they'll sit there and somebody dies,
Mhm.
which could have been totally prevented.
Right. Correct. Yes.
Negligence,
Mhm.
lack of empathy, nothing. And they're holding on with everything. See, once you tell me, I tell you I'm a 10, and
Mhm.
you tell me, you don't believe me.
Yeah.
I don't sit back down. I gets up,
Mhm.
I immediately leaves that corner, and I'm gonna slow walk to this exit.
Mhm.
Whoever's with me, come on. Where we going? We're not. I don't know where we're going yet, but we're not gonna stay here though, because I'm
Right.
sure to die if I stay here.
Mhm.
I know that. There's some hospitals I won't ever go back to. Never,
Yeah.
never, not on my life. No,
Mhm.
because they don't care. I've been in there in the emergency room for 7 hours before they see me, and then I get back there in the back, and it's another hour because they're at the nursing station laughing, talking. They act like we can't hear you.
Making TikToks. Sorry, I had to throw that
Whatever.
in there.
Making TikToks, talking about trips this weekend, what happened
Mhm.
at the club, and they come in and say, "Hey, so what's going on? What's going on? You got my chart. I, I'm supposed to be dealing with highly educated people here. You know exactly what's going on.
Mhm. Yeah.
There are those doctors, though. There are those doctors who understand exactly what it is and do a phenomenal job.
Mhm.
Therefore, my crisis is shorter. We work together to get us out the crisis.
Yeah.
But we have those that we have experienced those with. We understand.
Mhm.
And so that's the internal fight
Right.
that we have to fix. We have to fix that
Mhm.
because it would be a lot of unnecessary, unwanted deaths.
Yeah.
You just pay attention to what the patient is saying.
Mhm.
That's the most important thing is you have to trust the person that's in the pain, the patient who's been dealing with this all his life.
Mhm.
You may be the doctor, but that patient is the expert. Bottom line.
Yeah.
You can't tell me more about this than anything you've ever seen under the microscope. I don't care what you're looking at. You're looking at it because what you're looking at is happening in here.
Mhm.
It's working in here. Yeah, I saw a bunch of cells and they're all sickled and they're dehydrated and all. Yeah, I know because that's what's happening here. I'm
Yeah.
looking. It's me. I'm looking.
Mhm.
You got to tell me what we gonna do is what I need to know.
Yeah. So what advice do you have for people they don't know what to do when this happens? What is your advice? What do you tell them when they're like, I went to this hospital, this happened, or I don't want to go to like you said earlier, like sometimes they're mental, they're just like, you know what? I'm gonna just go through this by myself at home. I'm not going back to the hospital. What is your advice for them?
Well, my one thing I would say is find ask the questions first of all. Ask the
Hmm.
question: are you familiar with sickle cell?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need somebody to look after you. You're gonna have a primary care physician or a hematologist.
Hmm.
Ask those questions. Do you understand what sickle cell is? Because that's what I have, and I need a doctor who can who can oversee what it is that's going on with me. And then if you do get to an emergency room and you don't get the treatment, you're not getting the proper care.
Hmm.
Yes, go ahead and leave and go somewhere else. Yes. And take somebody with you, a family member, a friend. I
Hmm.
don't care if it's your child, if they can communicate, tell them what to say, and be loud about it.
Hmm.
Be loud about it because you have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be able to advocate for you or have someone there to advocate on your behalf. They cannot, there are rules in place. They cannot just treat you like this. People say, well, it's only a sickle cell crisis. Well, if it ain't so dangerous, if sickle cell is not there, why am I laying up here on the oncology floor?
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
on an oncology. That means it's cancer patients everywhere in here.
Yeah.
See, You know why? Because the pharmacy is pretty much on that floor, so it doesn't take long for us to get our medication. That's needed for us.
Right. Wow.
I have to. I understand the pain's so great. You cannot stay awake for that long.
Mm-hmm.
That is, you have to knock me out.
Yeah.
My body can get to fighting. I
Mm-hmm.
can't fight struggling and straining.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
ah, no.
Yeah.
But you have to take somebody with you to advocate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is the most important thing. Get if you in a city right now, go find out what sickle cell organization is in your area and make sure they have your phone number. Make
That's a
sure you
good
have
one.
their phone number. Because that way, when they find out you going in, they know exactly where you at, who your doctors are. They'll find out. They'll call in. You call them and you tell them, hey, they won't give me my payment. They call them, hey, we know X, Y,
Mm-hmm.
and Z is in this hospital. We know they're a sickle cell patient. We know exactly what type of sickle cell patient. We know they what they should be treated for, and we know what you're not doing. That's documentation.
You know what? Yeah. Y'all writing this down in the chat. If y'all have questions, please drop it in the chat because this right here is valuable information because I wouldn't have even thought about that. Yeah.
Well, you know what, Jamaica, because you have sickle cell?
No.
That's why you hadn't thought about it.
But I am a journalist though, but I still, that's fair. That's fair.
Let you almost die. See how much stuff you gonna think of.
That's fair. I
Why
was
would you be thinking
trying
about?
not to laugh. You got me.
Yeah, we gonna be laughing. What you thought? We gonna be depressing here? I've had enough rough days.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. What helps you stay grounded and keep going, especially when that pain, besides being knocked out, but what else helps keep you grounded? Like, I gotta keep pushing. I gotta keep pushing. Is it your foundation, your family? What is it?
No, it's really God. I cannot lie to you.
Okay, yeah.
It's my belief and my faith. It's it really is what when they say the embodiment of God will never put more on you than you can bear, and that
Hmm.
includes sickle cell too.
Yeah.
I used to ask the question, why would you give me such a terrible disease, God? Why? And all I keep hearing God say, why not you?
Hmm.
What better representation of how to go through something than you? I know what you're capable of doing.
Hmm.
See, little stuff doesn't bother me. Like I don't care nothing about them turning off my lights. I don't complain about bills. I don't complain about hardly nothing.
Hmm.
Because the greatest gift when they say, hey, he woke me up this morning, he really did. He
Yeah.
really did.
Hmm.
Like those things that people take for granted, we don't have that option. Life is very precious.
Hmm.
It is one of those things that I wake up and I say, wow, I got another shot to be great today. I got
Hmm.
another shot at it. Man, thank God. Sickle cell and all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you, man. I'm going to be a positive light today. Man, I'm going to bring somebody some joy. I'm going to make somebody laugh today. I'm going to use all the gifts and talents.
Hmm.
It's pretty much, after you almost died so many times, there's pretty much not much that can really shake you.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
not, I mean, you think about like when you've already been that close to death that many times and you
Hmm.
keep coming back, I don't know what can shake you.
Yeah. Well, I hope you know that every morning you are being a light on everybody's commute to work. If y'all, yeah, I hope you know that. You know that,
You know what?
right?
I don't even think about sickle cell anymore. I'm just being there, being who my personality is
Okay.
in my family, my whole life. That's what sickle cell has taught me to laugh at everything.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a comment. I want to read this one to you from Wendy Irvin. She says her husband has sickle cell and he won't even go to the ER. He'll wait until he's in a crisis until he can get to the day clinic because the ER is, they're mean and dismissive. And that kind of explains exactly what you were just talking about.
Yeah, told you that they out there. And thank you, Wendy. And you know, I would like for him to find the primary care physician
Hmm.
because that way at least your primary care physician will tell you which hospital that he will be working out of and where
Hmm.
he will be. and he will come see you. He will know those doctors that are there, the team of doctors that are there he's working with. You know, that's a major part of it. Because, you know, if they know that the doctor is working out of this hospital, less likely to mistreat you because they know that doctor. That's
Yes.
patient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's like, it's like, hey, this is my best friend's house, okay, and you can't
Right.
treat his best friend
Mm-hmm.
without him knowing about it. And that's when I started realizing that the bond between doctors and
Mm-hmm.
cell patients, and yes, rightfully so, the trust has been torn. Rightfully so, it has. Because if
Yeah.
they did you like this, Shameika, would you come? If I was a doctor and I treated you like this, would you come see me again? Would you come back in here?
No, I mean I've had doctors that have been all kinds of mean and dismissive, and I ain't been back to them
Right,
for other stuff. Yeah, I mean, it could be a spot on my arm. I'm not coming back.
right. Because the
Yeah.
trust that trust has been broken.
Hmm.
You know, and that's part of our job is to we have to, and it's going to take the doctors, it's going to take the patients, but it's going to take good doctors to reach out to us sickle cell patients, come out into the community and speak to us about what is going on in the hospital concerning us,
Yeah.
just concerning us.
Hmm.
We're not, no disrespect to anybody with cancer or lupus or any other, you know, cystic fibrosis, nothing. We just want to know what specifically is being done for us. We understand they have a fight, and so do we.
Hmm.
We just need to see who you are. First of all, if you in business as a doctor, there's plenty of clients out here for you. You can have all these clients.
Hmm.
You just need to know what it is that is being done for us to make us feel comfortable. What
Hmm.
protocols are put in place? Because there's a protocol already in place for us. You doctors just don't read it. You
Hmm.
know what to do. They can go find out anything they want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's at their fingertips. They just have to go.
Uh-huh.
But no, I'm the doctor. I know everything. I know more than you, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's another thing too. I encourage uh, sickle cell warriors to do is find out all you can about your specific type of sickle cell. No, recognize those
Hmm.
signs because I'm gonna tell you what I found out for me as I get older,
Hmm.
the crisis is getting stronger.
What kind do you have?
SC, I'm
Okay.
type SC,
Okay.
and the crises are getting so much stronger now.
Mm.
And I feel like, man, I don't know how long I can fight those. I can fight this off. Like there is like somebody's increasing the weight. Like I pretty much know what level of crisis can get to.
Yeah.
We're past that now. You know, we're
Uh-huh.
past that.
How
And
often do you have these? I'm just so
oh
nosy, aren't
God,
I?
I have them maybe if I'm great at it, one every other year.
Okay.
If something going wrong, maybe once a year.
Hmm.
If it's going bad for me, maybe twice.
Okay.
And then if it's worse than that, I've had this where I've been in there 3 times a year.
Mm.
Last time I was in the hospital was end of February, but I said I
Okay.
had a good doctor. I had a good doctor
Hmm.
last week of February. I had a good doctor, and I was in there maybe 48 hours. Like she did her thing, and I was back out feeling fine, a little weak.
Yeah.
As I got hydrated and everything else, everything was back to normal. And I was back on the radio all the time. Morning, everybody. Nobody knew the difference. Nobody knew
Well,
nothing.
well, that was my next question: is how do you balance being a public figure, being on our radios every morning, and we're expecting to laugh with you, and we do, but you could be going through, going through this, and we don't even know. So how do you juggle that? Like on those days that you're in crisis, you just not come in, or do you still try to make it in? How does that work?
No, there's been many days. And so when I have a crisis, all of them are not as in level tens.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's level 2.
Okay.
And I've sat here on this radio and still made you laugh. You just never do.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's nothing to complain about. The good thing is I ain't going down there. I can deal with this at home.
Yeah.
it may be a constant thriving, maybe the pain in my hip or my lower back, but I can deal with that. Just as long as it don't get more than that, then we're fine. And you just go
Yeah.
on about your life. You do everything you need to do. When I get off, I'll go lay down for a little bit. I'll medicate myself. I'll breathe. I'll relax. I'll do something, look at TV or something. Just don't move too much. And then we'll see how I feel in the morning. The next day I come in there, there's nothing. It's like, well, we're fine. Woof. That's over.
Okay.
And it's not about what's happening to you. It's about what you do while it's happening. What you do while it's happening. I could have easily taken off.
Yeah.
That's not a issue. But I told you earlier in the interview, I would never let sickle cell take another thing from me.
That's right.
That. Not even a day of work. You don't get that.
Good for you.
Man, nobody believes it. I mean, I remember one time when I was a young comedian, I was taping Comic View in LA. I was on stage in a full-blown sickle cell crisis.
Wow. What season was that? I'm going to go look it up.
I think it was I want to say about 2002.
Okay.
I was in a full-blown sickle cell crisis.
Wow.
But see, I didn't have no insurance at that time. But after that, I have gotten good at this. I have been in other cities. Had a sickle cell crisis, right, in other cities. Went in that emergency room, got treated, and drove off. They'll never find me.
Yep.
I can afford that bill. I appreciate you, Memphis.
We got another comment.
Ooh, I ain't getting no address. I gave them the address to the hospital. They didn't even look at it. They didn't even
wow.
Y'all. Man.
Oh, we have a comment from Gail Batson. She's saying, be adamant when you're talking to a doctor. Hopefully they're listening and not just giving you an answer just to give you an answer. You have to find a good doctor who is good and understands you, who's concerned, caring, and that you're comfortable with, and that cares about your physical health and your mental health. Don't settle. Find a good primary doctor and a good therapist. So that brings me to my next question. We talked about the depression. Do you go to therapy to help with that part?
Yes, I have. I have gone to therapy to talk about that. Yes, I have. I've done that. And see, that's like one of the things in our community.
Yep.
Mental health and stuff like that. But yes, I have done that. But this was back in like 2000. I want to say 2019. Right, 2019.
Okay.
And it was a rough year. And my best friend had died. Sickle cell was really, really going haywire because of stress level, and my father had a heart attack. And I thought about it, I mean, I really was going through the ringer, but I was showing up every day. I was laughing. Nobody knew. Because, man, I had to focus on something else. That's what the morning show gives me in the morning when I'm in here with y'all and Mr. Hart and the whole team. It gives me something else to focus on instead of what's going wrong. Man, the joy that I get from just being a part of the show. I just feel like I'm one of y'all. I mean, I'm sitting in the room, but I'm laughing too because I needed it. And one of the key things I learned is that I'm not Superman and stop trying to be.
Y'all hear that, black men?
I mean, he just told me flat out, "Hey, man," and the way he did it was so funny. He was a perfect therapist too. And he was like, "Hey, man, you ever see Superman?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, you ever seen how he hold up them buildings?" I was like, yeah, man. Remember we was knocking people all off the planet? Yeah, stopping trains. Yeah. That ain't you.
Sorry, I didn't know where this was going. Sorry.
That's exactly.
My brain went to. I thought
I was thinking, yeah, and that's what he told me. He said, "That ain't you. You can't do none of that." And that's when I learned like to learn to put things down.
Yeah.
Put those things down. It's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with saying, um, for my own health, I don't want to address that or deal with that issue.
Mhm.
That goes a lot too with family members and friends and everything. It's okay to say, hey, look, I heard that. I got you. I feel. But let me tell you something. I'm not Superman. I'm not the one
Mhm.
gonna fix this.
Yep.
See, and for us, no kind of stress is good. Whether it's good stress or bad stress, we have to stay even keel the entire time. If I
Mhm.
get too excited, crisis. You get too low, crisis.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot to it.
It's a lot to it. I'm learning a lot tonight. Like I know we did the sickle cell panel back in it was a few months ago, but I'm learning because hearing from you who actually goes through this and is living with it every day, this is powerful and it's obviously resonating with the audience. Can you talk a little bit about what have you witnessed through your foundation and what kind of support does it provide? Because, somebody may want to reach out. I know you just did a race. Was it over this past weekend or the weekend before?
Last weekend, last Saturday
Yeah.
in Dallas, and I started that race. It was our 7th year.
Hmm.
The foundation had started. I started the foundation in 2015, so it was our 10-year anniversary for the foundation.
Hmm.
And the race we've done. It was our 7th annual race that we've done in Dallas, because I used to live in Dallas.
Hmm.
I'm originally from Houston, but I used to live in Dallas, and we're on the radio in Dallas, and so it was just it's been comfortable. It's been home, it's like a mother home. And what the race does is the funds that we raise from the race that we do uh, every Christmas, we take 10 families in a city and we pay for their entire Christmas.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I mean, if you have an adult that has sickle cell in the family, or your child has sickle cell in the family, doesn't matter. We'll review all of them, all of the entries that we get, and
Hmm.
we take the worst 10 ones that we can help with, and
Hmm.
we buy all the gifts, toys, everything for all 10 of the families, whatever's on their wish list. We
Yeah.
don't care. We don't just buy it for the kid with the sickle cell or the adult. No, the entire family, the brothers, the sisters, the father, the mother, the
Hmm.
entire family. Because I've waken up in the hospital on Christmas,
Yeah.
because it's a very hard time for us.
Hmm.
And so we've been doing that. I've been doing that for 10 years, and I mean, the foundation has, because of what everybody does for the foundation, the community does for that. We've helped people in Jacksonville, in
Hmm.
DC, in Memphis, in Chicago, in New York, in Dallas, Charlotte. I
Yeah.
mean, we've done it just about everywhere,
Hmm.
you know, and so, Austin, it just goes on and on.
Hmm.
And so that's where all, I don't take a dime, nothing. I'm telling you, I don't take a dime at all, none of it. And all the money does that. We zero out at the end of every year,
Hmm.
and it's good to see, them have the joy of not being in the hospital that day, to
Yeah.
actually sit down and be a family. If you go look
Hmm.
on my Facebook page or on my Instagram account for Cures Hope,
Hmm.
you look at the family, see this. I mean, we have everything. Like Santa Claus is there; he comes down.
Hmm.
People don't know Santa's black. They got black Santa. He comes down. He gives out the toys. The kids are excited, and we have a really good Christmas party. And
Oh, I
it's
love
the
that.
most amazing things. And I do my best, and my team does its best to make it feel like Christmas that exact morning, like that day. The food
Oh.
is amazing. The people, the sickle cell communities that come out,
Hmm.
we laugh, we have a great day, and it's like the best thing in the world. And I said, man, I just want to keep doing more of that,
Hmm.
And then, no, now it's just, we just expand the vision now, at Cures Hope. But that's where we do. That's the work that we put in all
Hmm.
year long. We show up at events for educational purposes.
Hmm.
We talk. I go do public speaking about sickle cell. I'm motivational speaking about sickle cell.
Mhm.
And, they don't pay me. They'll pay honorarium to my foundation. Everything, because this is a philanthropic effort. This is not for monetary gain.
Mhm.
God has blessed me already. It's not even a question. Because I
Mhm.
told you, I didn't know none of this was going to be here. Nothing.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that does not free you from the obligation of
Mhm.
helping those and giving people an example of what it looks like to live with this disease and thrive and be successful. Because when I first got to the morning show, I didn't have the foundation. That was in 2011.
Mhm.
Harvey looked at me and said, "Hey, man, let me tell you something. You can't sit on my show and not have a cause." I was like, "Okay." He said, "So what's your cause?" And I said, I don't really. He said, "Sickle cell, fool. God, help this behind." We hired him. What's all this thinking for? And that's literally how that.
I can hear his voice.
Well, I said, man, Mr. Harvey always making you think,
Yeah.
and Mr. Harvey is such a great inspiration because he understood what the power of being in the community would mean.
Mhm.
For a young person like me, I'm 34 years old, 35 at the time.
Mhm.
I was 36 years old when I started this foundation.
Yeah.
Didn't know nothing about running the foundation, nothing. How many times I done failed at running the foundation?
And that's
Didn't know
okay.
nothing. No, I didn't let it stop nothing. I bet you
Yeah.
everybody got some Christmas gifts every year though. Didn't
Yeah.
fall
See?
short of that.
Mhm.
Had no idea. True, I still don't. I'm
Mhm.
still learning.
Well, how can people like if they want to know more, where can they go to find out more about the
Oh,
foundation?
yeah, you can go to somebody had KIERS hope.org. That's KIERS hope.org. Put it in the chat. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Asia, put that in the chat. I was going to say that.
You don't get to speak to her. That's my producer.
Yeah, I'm talking to the producer, everybody. Asia, could you please throw that in the chat? KIERS hope.org. Thank you, Asia. Asia is me and Shameika's producer.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you since you're now part of the of the team. It
Yeah.
feels like it as much as we have messaged.
Oh my gosh. It's absolutely wonderful.
So I mean, you're gonna have to come back because we didn't even get to all my questions. But for my last question,
Hmm.
well, actually, you are gonna come back next week. But for my last question, what feeds your soul? I think I know the answer just from this conversation. But what feeds your soul?
Oh my gosh. Um, well, a couple things feed my soul. Laughter for one. That really feeds my soul. But two,
Yeah.
seeing people with sickle cell win,
Hmm.
seeing the joy, seeing them understand that I've got it, seeing them understand that it's not the end of the world,
Hmm.
seeing them understand that I can have a full life, and seeing them say, I'm pretty awesome. I'm pretty damn awesome. Man, I'm special. I'm different. Yeah. Yeah, those are things that feed my soul. And then the other thing is my father pleased? Did I do a great job? Did I leave one stone unturned? Did I do everything that I could in my power? Then I'm satisfied. That's what feeds my soul. Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So I tried to put in the chat, but I don't know if it just showed up on my own streaming. But I will come back and put it in the chat again for everybody if you don't see it, um, the website. So thank you so much
Oh, you're
for
so
coming on and sharing your story and being so open and transparent and really because those of us that don't have sickle cell or don't have anybody like that's close in the family or anything like that, we don't know what you're going through. And this conversation just gave me a whole different perspective. I mean, all I knew was what I saw in Grey's Anatomy. You know that one episode.
that's that one episode everybody talks about in Grey's Anatomy. Yes.
That one episode. That's all I knew.
But
And
but it was so true.
yeah, yeah, it was very powerful. So
Oh man, he brought that home. Yes,
mhm,
he did. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you for coming on and just sharing with us. And like I said, I want you to come back. You know, you're welcome to come back. I'm begging you to come back.
You don't have to
We
beg
can
me.
finish the conversation because
No,
I
you don't have
didn't
to beg me.
get
No,
to the other
continue
20
begging.
questions.
Continue begging, please. You don't have to beg me. Continue. Continue. Please. No, you don't have to. Yeah, I would
I'll
love
just
to.
be in your DMs in all caps.
Yeah,
Please.
I mean, listen, man, listen. I just want y'all to know I'm not hard to find. If you're looking for me, if you find me, my team, they know exactly where I'm at. You
Mhm.
know, if you need me for anything, to come speak to whatever,
Yeah.
I'm willing to work with y'all to come out there and get this message out there because I think it's more than me out here that's doing this. There are
Mhm.
hundreds of us that just want to make the difference. That just want to be seen. That's
Yeah.
all. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on Soulibration and giving us some pockets of joy because I definitely needed it tonight. I was like, I don't know, but I needed the laughter too. I need,
Yeah,
like you said, laughter is medicine, and thank
it
you for
is.
that too. Thank you for
Ah,
that because you got me on a couple more.
hey, and let me tell you something right now. We're gonna be doing it again in the morning. So please don't forget, everybody. It's like they say at church. Please don't forget your appointment with Mr. Harvey in the morning on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Thank you, and God bless.
Yes, yes. For more information, y'all, on sickle cell, you can also head over to blackdoctor.org for more articles and resources there. And I gotta tell you who's coming back next week. Y'all remember y'all know our favorite. I call her our internet aunt, and uncle. Yeah, y'all remember Rita and Theo? They were on our relationship healthy aging panel a couple months ago, talking about how to keep things spicy in the bedroom. Well, they're coming back. They're coming to Celebration, and
Baby,
we
we're
are.
gonna have to be on that one next week. Get my
So,
wife for this.
so
Have you need to hear this speech next week. She
they're
coming
gonna
too.
have some more secrets on how to keep it spicy. So you come back.
We're gonna talk about keeping it spicy. It's not seasoning.
Did she tell you to hush yet?
Yeah, that's why I turn back around.
So yes, you guys don't want to miss that conversation. Next Wednesday is 7 o'clock. Have a soul-filled rest of the evening, and I'm gonna set my alarm because I got an appointment with Mr. Steve Harvey in the morning.
There you do.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
you so well.
Have a good night. Don't hang up yet.